The lug nuts have been loosened, coins in the middle console have been stolen, and the muffler has been illegally modified. It's time to take the high road. We're back. How are you, Jake?
I'm good. I'm here with my friend Jim Rodriguez. Just got to his place last night, and he's going to be our second interview in person, so I'm excited about it. I'll give a quick intro about Jim, and then we're going to start asking him some good questions about our relationship and some stuff about him. He's one of the funny characters I've gotten to get to know and become friends with. But I met Jim through, our Hawaii friends, which are most of my friends now, and ended up going on deployment with him out of San Diego back in 2009, 2010. And then when we got back, they were looking for a roommate. So I ended up living with him and his now wife, Tandra, who was his girlfriend at the time, and got to become really good friends with them for about a year, living with them. You came down and visited, so you got to meet them. So this is one of the first friends we're interviewing that you actually know, which is cool. So I'm sure you got your own personal questions to ask that might be funny about me living with them. But yeah, and so I've just been, I think Jim and Tandra have not been I've not kept in touch with them the best with some of the friends, but every time I hit them up, they're quick to reply back and get back in touch with me. So I didn't get to see them on my road trip last year just because of the route I took. But since I was up north towards Gatlinburg, I was like, Jim and Tandra only a few hours away. So decided to drive here last night and got here. And so Tandra did not want to interview. So we get Jim, unfortunately. But Jim and Tandra, they live now in near Mooresville, North Carolina, and got an awesome house and have a 5-year-old daughter named Emerson. But yeah, so this is Jim.
Hi.
Hey, welcome to the show. Good to see you again, Jim.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
It's
been a couple of years.
Yeah, I was thinking about it actually, probably close to 14 or 15 years.
Something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like it was the summer or fall of 2010.
Yeah. So 15 years.
Yeah.
I think
How do you think he's aged?
Very well.
Very well. James, what do you think about Jim?
Yeah, he looks very similar. I would have recognized him on the street, which is a good thing.
Guess how old he is now?
72. Not bad.
Is that your guess for me? I guess my first question is, and I'm going off script here a little bit. Why are you what brought you to North Carolina? Are you originally from there?
No, I'm originally from Michigan. My wife's originally from Nebraska. We just always like to move around. Seems like we're quite the kind of gypsies, I guess, in a way. Lived in Colorado, loved it there, but quickly realized how much we missed the water. So instead of moving to the coast and getting hammered by, one of the yearly things that devastates the coast, we're like, let's just look for a big giant lake.
Yeah, North Carolina is a state I don't believe I've ever set foot in, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Even in my road trip days, I think we just missed it heading through up through Florida to Tennessee and stuff like that. I think we missed it, but
it reminds me a lot, strangely enough, of home with all the trees in Michigan, and so it's a kind of a cool connection. Just when I was outside, see the trees, wilderness, things like that.
And I don't know if I've clarified, but I already said we were deployed together, but I was Navy. And Jim, if you couldn't tell by his look, he was Marine Corps. All right. He looks like a total Marine Corps jarhead. But yeah, no. So, I think I'd say over half my friends that I've kept in touch with that aren't corpsmen were Marines that I met through friends or was deployed with. So that's a lot of my friend population now. I was roommates with Jim for about a year, and I feel like I didn't get to know a lot about his family or his past. And he talked a couple things about when he first came in the Marine Corps and just a few things, but it's just weird how I've been friends with people so long. And a lot of people, I don't remember how many siblings they have. I don't remember the name of their siblings or how old they are. And so we were talking about that earlier today. But I honestly, one of my questions was that I wanted to ask Jim. I don't think I ever have. It's just but why did you choose to go in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, good question. My father was actually in the Marine Corps during the Korean War. He's a machine gunner. I'm sure you saw some stuff.
Mhm.
And so after high school, I was kind of just lost. Knew I didn't want to go to college, or I would do terrible at college at the time. My stepdad, he was in the army,
What?
and so he was always telling me, like, I think everybody should serve at least a couple of years,
Like the Chinese?
something like that.
Israeli, like the Israeli.
That's
army?
right. Yeah. So I think when it kind of came down to it, I didn't even go to any other force. I'm like, well, if I'm gonna go to the military, I'm just gonna be just like my dad. And so no pun intended, but I'm just gonna go to the best one. So
It's not really lying.
so yeah, typical jock, kind of be like dad, join the toughest thing. Kind of, yeah. So
If only he was still in now, I can join the Space Force.
That's right,
That's a
Space
tip of the
Force, yeah.
spear. Listeners, just know that these questions, if they're good, they're from me. If they're bad, James thought of them.
Well, we got a little background as to why you joined, but what did you like most about the Marine Corps?
I think what I like the most is the people I got to meet over the time, and how can I say this? The lessons that it taught me, as far as like leadership, being accountable for things, not afraid to make decisions, on a split decision. I can make decisions real fast, right or wrong. A lot of people seem to be afraid of sometimes doing that. So yeah, just kind of a lot of the things that they teach you, especially in the infantry, where I first started. They teach a lot of that.
Sort of follow up on that. You said you were an athlete, so like, was it easy to transition into that?
Yeah, it was. Even though, actually, kind of funny story. I felt like my summer football camps
Mhm.
were harder than boot camp. Yeah, so yeah.
That's how they do it in Michigan, bro.
I don't know. Maybe it had to do with my football coach was a Marine too. So
And to follow up on that, like, what was your least favorite thing about the Marine Corps?
I feel like this could be a long list.
it's kind of double-edged sword. Going on deployments are awesome, but at the same time, you're away from your friends, loved ones, family. So I think I would have to say that. Yeah. At one hand, it's awesome, and at the other hand, it sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously didn't serve in any capacity, but I think the hardest or most difficult thing would have been for me was the leeway you didn't have. You know what I mean, to go do certain things. I know Jake always had to be gone after a certain amount of time to do things, and I think that would have been tough for me. So I always just assume that's what everybody's answer is going to be, is like just how regimented it was. As great as it is, I could see it kind of being frustrating sometimes. For me, I think it would have been.
Yeah. That wasn't a big deal to me. The structure of it all. It was kind of nice in a way. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, and I, he's old, so I think when he came in, were they still using muskets, or was it what kind of?
Well, they just got them, so yeah, they still had muskets. They were pretty new.
You're packing it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he's like, we've talked about this, how you when I was on leave, I was always like had anxiety about going back to work or getting ready for deployment, and like you couldn't actually sometimes enjoy time with friends or family. But I think when you were younger, you were all about it. Like, I want to get out there, I want to experience it, and you didn't like. I was okay missing 3 Christmases in a row and birthdays and all that stuff. And I got, a lot of guys would miss their first kid being born. And, there's stuff that you just don't think is important at that age that it starts becoming important. But I think to benefit you, or I think your thing that you did smart is he got married later, had kids later, or had a kid later. And he's been able to be around a lot more. And I can't imagine being in the military, married, and having 2 or 3 kids that they have to just fend for themselves with their spouse while you're off for 6 to 7 months. And you train like 3 to 6 months prior. So you're gone all the time. It's almost like a year where you miss family, you miss birthdays, you miss kids being born. And I think that would have been a tough thing for me to deal with. So maybe that's why I stayed single, or just because I was a lot to deal with. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard one of our friends, I can't quite remember which one, but was just very thankful that they got into the whole thing, especially with the kids after, or at the very end of the career. Yeah, so I'm awful grateful for that.
Yeah, Jake, that's why you're still single.
I tell myself
Um,
every time I look in the mirror, you're choosing this. You chose this.
All right, Jim, what's a great story about where you were deployed or stationed?
I mean, hell, we'll just go with the friends group. Hawaii. That was actually the first time I was in Hawaii. Since I'm older, that was before I met all these knuckleheads.
Well, yeah, let's give a time frame real quick. Let's circle back.
Okay.
What year did you come in the Marine Corps,
Nine-
and then your first couple of duty stations, and then maybe talk about Hawaii? If you
Yeah,
want.
so I came in 1992. And so it was actually a buddy of mine in high school. We played football together. We both were like, screw it, let's join the Marines. We're like, cool. And we actually both ended up going to Hawaii and kind of the same unit as a lot of our friends group. I just obviously there first, a little bit earlier, but yeah, perfect. Couldn't ask for anything better. You know, some young kids, high school buddies in Hawaii. We're like, are you kidding me? So we would
Wow.
actually go home for vacation. And our friends from high school, they're like, they're in college, like, where are you guys at right now? We're like, Hawaii. And they're like, no, seriously, where are you guys at? We're like, I'm not joking. We're in Hawaii. Yeah. So they didn't believe us, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big difference from like Michigan to Hawaii.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All the losers that stayed in Michigan. I'm kidding. If there's any Michigan listeners, we love you.
So yeah, so I was there for, like 4 years, and then went to Japan for a year, and then California, San Diego, or at Orange County area, and then came back to Hawaii. And then from there, that's when I got to stay for kind of two periods, one after another. So
What was the time frame on that second tour in Hawaii?
I can't remember. I'm too old.
Because I feel like you had already left the island by the time I joined the group, and I got there in 2005, but I didn't really hang out with the Hawaii group till 2007.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And I don't think I remember you guys being there.
No, I don't. I think I had just probably left,
Mhm.
and then when you,
I met you. There was like a dinner we went to in Hawaii, and that's when I first met you. I want to say in 07 or 08.
I think it's yeah. We came back just to visit.
A visit, yeah. And then I just got stationed in Pendleton. He was on Pendleton when I came back to Cali, and I was coming up there to play soccer with you from 08 to 12. That's when we ended up actually seeing each other some more and going on the Mew. I don't remember what Mew that was. 11th, 13th, 5th, 11th.
11th. Yeah.
11th Mew.
Yeah.
That was we didn't stop at a lot of Libby ports. It was a rough deployment. We were out to sea for us, but then we were on the same ship for the beginning. And then he swapped to another ship and got to see a bunch of cool stuff. I was like, you son of a.
Yeah. I ended up going to like Hong Kong a couple times, and he was just stuck, just
doing circles on the big deck.
Circles.
No, I was just saying, that's how the military was, man. It was like first month was pretty cool. We stopped a couple places. We got to go out on Liberty together, and he was kind of my Liberty buddy. And then he leaves, and I'm like, damn it, I got to randomly pick somebody else. And it's just one of those things, like knowing somebody already, and generally you make friends on train when you first get to a unit and finally train for a little while. But like, it's just having that a little more of a background with him and our other friends. It was one of those like, oh, am I going to get in trouble with this dude or not? And we stayed out of trouble. I mean, he was the old dude, so I just kind of made sure he kept us out of trouble. I was a young blood just trying to find some trouble.
So Jim, you were in Hawaii before Jake was there.
Yeah.
Left, Jake got there, but you guys knew the same people. Like it was the same actual group.
Yeah.
Ended up.
Yeah. I don't know how you ended up meeting
Brian Lynch, the good old the
everybody.
linchpin of our group.
That's right.
It's Brian Lynch in many ways.
So that's how I ended up meeting the group. Brian was actually dating for a really short period, a roommate I had. And then
Was that a female or a guy? We're not sure.
It was a female.
Okay.
Yeah. She was awesome. She was super cool. But it was real short, like maybe a month or something like that. And then they went on deployment, came back, and that's when I ended up seeing Brian again. And then I was like, yeah, why don't you come on over? We were just hanging out, but that quickly, maybe a couple weekends later, turned into the first big giant house party at my house. So yeah, that's how I met everybody at this first party. I just met all these people that Still know today.
This wasn't at the Palace, was it?
No, this is way before the Palace.
Yeah.
We closed down our group with the Palace, and then about a year of us all moving, destroying the F Palace, and then moving out. I think a lot of people left the island within that year, and that's actually literally when I moved to San Diego and started hanging out with him more.
There was a lot of people that ended up coming to San Diego.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like transition from island to San Diego wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot different than Michigan Island.
Yeah, for
Island,
sure.
Michigan.
Yeah.
It's just pretty funny, but how is it being roommates with Jake? Like, did you choose this lifestyle or what? Or did he
I
force
think
himself?
I think I made such a good. I'm gonna answer for you real quick. I think I made such a good impression on deployment and just the interactions. He's just like, you know what? I want this guy in my life platonically, some more. And I think it took some convincing for Tandra to accept me, but I think he sold it. And then I was actually their roommates in Del Mar when we first got back. I didn't have a place to stay, and they were living in Del Mar.
Yeah.
And I think we were there for a couple of months, and they're like, "Hey, we're looking for a new place. We found a place in OB," and I was like, "Down." And then I think we did the year lease.
Yeah, it was like a year lease. That place was awesome.
Yeah,
We were gonna try to stay longer, but the lady ended up selling the house, and we were forced out basically. So that was a bummer. That place was super cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was more of I was a stray cat they took in because I didn't have any place to live, so they let me live in their spare room, and it was a decent apartment in Del Mar, which is traditionally expensive and doesn't have big apartments, but they had a room they let me rent out and pay some of the rent, and I wasn't too bad those first couple of months, so they let me cling on to them for the next spot.
Yeah. And then OB, that was just a fun spot. Like I said, and the house was awesome. So that was a fun little.
For the listeners, OB is not Outer Banks; it's Ocean Beach in Southern California.
Yeah.
And if you're there, please go visit OB Donuts.
I think it's still there. When I was there a couple of years ago, it was still there. So the reference to OB Donut is James and our friend Ben came down and visited and actually stayed with me, Jim, and Tandra for the weekend. They came down from LA, and I was like, it was morning, hey, what do you guys want to do? And kind of just hanging out. Let's go get some donuts. So we walked down and got some donuts, and it was one of those things where I think Ben just said it funny in a funny way, and we just kind of just started saying OB Donut.
I think we had emerged from our cave after 48 hours of Call of Duty.
Dude, that was when I was addicted to Call of Duty. Max ammo. You remember that? We were playing zombies. Dude, that was 2010. I'm glad I'm not doing that life anymore. But yeah.
I was really good at that game.
You were terrible. I hated playing with you.
Yeah, we left the house. I think it was raining so much we didn't do much of anything, but we did go to OB Donut.
Yeah. I did want to talk about a water polo story. That would have been funny.
Oh.
But me and the guys I worked with were like, there was a pool, and so there's nothing else to do. So we're like, yeah, let's go to the pool. We're like, cool. And then somebody's like, let's play water polo. So we're like, cool. And then we all quickly realized how out of shape we were, even though being in the Marines. And yeah, we were dying. It was pretty hilarious. And then so we played one day, and then I think I was talking to Jake later that day. We're like, yeah, I played water polo, it was super fun. And he was like, oh, I
was like, I used to play in high school. Why didn't you tell me? I would have gone.
And so we're like, cool, next day, let's go. And this guy ended up being a ringer. And everybody was like, who the invited this guy?
Yeah, I mean, this is when I was still pretty young and actually still swimming quite a bit. And yeah, 2000, I think right when we were training in 2009. And yeah, I still felt like I was pretty in good shape. And everyone was like trying to like tread water and hold up the ball and couldn't even do it. And I was just like, thank you.
And he would, obviously water polo, you just how high you could hover.
Just yeah.
And we were all
Just
in awe.
Waist out.
Yeah. We were just in awe of how he was doing this. And
that was the last. That was
embarrassing.
That was the last of my glory days. Yeah, I got all these strong or big old tough Marines that can't even just get their nipples out of the water. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that should have been. It should have been Jake against the 20 of us. Yeah, it might have been a competition, maybe.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm glad you thought of that. So let's put this in there somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
How were your grocery bills with Jake living with you? Did he split the cost with you there, or did he eat you at a house and home?
I'm trying to think. Like,
I can't remember. I think we just kind of like me and Tandra just got our crap and then he got his stuff, and it's like these are your shelves, these are our shelves.
I got all processed and preservative stuffs that were in bags, and they had fresh stuff in the fridge. So I didn't really. They ate all their stuff in the fridge, and I ate all my stuff out of the pantry.
But how was it living with Jake? Because I mean, I get him in like brief spurts here and there, and
Yeah.
Hey, you're in the nest.
I know. I'm
You're in the nest. You can say whatever. I need to
Trust.
know. Because I feel I was one of the perfect best roommates ever, but my reality is skewed sometimes. So I would love to.
No,
I
yeah.
can't wait to hear what he says.
It was perfectly fine. Yeah, it was just okay.
He's looking down. He's looking down. Body
I'm
language is
saying
not.
bad about Jake.
Body language is not showing it. I felt like I was pretty clean. I cleaned up after myself.
You were very
I didn't
clean, yeah.
blast music.
No.
I never missed paying rent.
No.
And I mean, you guys did pay more of the rent, but I mean, I feel like I tried to be as considerate as I could.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it was awesome living with Jake. Yeah, and after the year,
Let me get my money out and pay him for that.
yes, we'll sum up later.
But he was. I mean, I think we were all kind of in that time of our life where we ride down our beach cruiser bikes and go down to
Yeah.
the bar, and just we were in kind of into having a good time, eating food and hanging out on the beach, and we were just all kind of in the same place in our lives of what we wanted to do or what was fun.
And then even though it was the same house, we still had it set up to where you could just kind of have your own time by yourself too. So
They were upstairs with the master bedroom and like almost a wraparound balcony, and I was downstairs under the stairs in the guest room.
Gollum. Yeah,
Gollum.
yeah, you got the Harry Potter room underneath the stairs.
that's right. Yeah, but no, it was awesome. Yeah, living with Jake.
They were great roommates. Definitely, probably some of my best roommates that I had. So
Well, Jim and Tander and I will talk off air about what really went down.
I don't think the listeners are ready to hear the truth.
Yeah, another funny story is like when we were living together in OB.
Yeah.
When we went out, it was New Year's. I think it was New Year's or 4th of July. Anyways, yeah,
It might come back to me once you start talking.
Yeah, so we had Avery,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had this,
Avery, her dog.
Yeah,
Her dog.
my-
His
our dog.
female dog.
And so we had this little on the second floor, this little outside enclosed patio thing. And so my dog was extremely afraid of fireworks, but we're like, we'll just put it in here, it should be fine. And so we all go to the bar, we all come back, all three of us. And then so you had like a lizard, something.
Bearded Dragons. And James, you actually took care of him on one of my deployments, didn't you?
For a year.
And-
Yeah.
and I
Cookie and Cunty.
Cookie and Cunty Kardashian.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jared gave me those. So Jared Napier had those for about a year while I was at IDC school.
Yeah.
He was going to Japan, so he's like, "Hey, would you take them?" And he's like, "Give me $100 for these Jordans and the lizards." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm helping you out, but I'm paying you." But then I had them that when we were living in OB.
And so my dog somehow jumped on top of this table that was out there,
Yeah.
took a shit on the table, and then proceeded to get into all of your supplies for these bearded dragons.
Yeah.
And fucked them all
All
up.
the food and all that. Yeah, just tear it apart. Yeah.
But it's like your dog's telling you something when you like purposely jump on top of a table, take a big crap. Yeah.
I don't like these lizards. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
James,
there's more-
James, can you help me out, bud? I got the dog doesn't like them. Can you take my bearded dragons?
That was a fun time in my life, feeding those things.
I can't believe I asked you to do that instead of just giving them away. I don't know what I was thinking, but
How long did you have them after I gave them back?
I think within a year I posted to who wants these for free, just take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That you're a good friend for doing that above and beyond, you know?
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah. And you're welcome, Jared, for me taking your lizards and keeping them alive for a couple years. So
Can you do me a favor and buy these from me?
It's like,
yeah, I don't we were drinking a lot. I don't know, maybe I thought it made sense, but whatever.
got some Jordans out of it though.
Yeah, I think I got some Jordans
That's solid.
that were too small, so then I ended up just giving them away.
You're not the best negotiator. I don't think. What's going on here?
I'm a sucker. I guess I was a sucker back then.
So the next question Jake has is, what do you like most about living in North Carolina?
The scenery, like, I guess kind of what I'm saying. Like the lake is like right across the street from us. Where we live, the only way you're gonna see the lake anywhere you're trying to get out. So it's beautiful, and just the openness and the trees and the natures. There's deer, tons of deer all around, wildlife. So it's pretty cool for being in a residential area. Yeah, so that's what I love about it.
Were we talking about it last night or this morning? But we were just talking about how when you get old or when you're younger, you want to be near the city, you want to be near the beach. And I think me and James have talked about it. And now, like living more secluded, or the mountains or by a lake, it sounds way better than being in the hustle and bustle of the city and by the beach with traffic and no parking and all the stress and BS that comes with it. I think you get older and you're like, it's just not worth the premium anymore. I love it. They got a great house, good, cool lot. We haven't gone and seen the lake yet just because I was pretty much physically not challenged. What's the word? I got here and I just wanted to kind of relax and rest. And then they're
kind of late too. Yeah. So
yeah. But hopefully we get to see some stuff. And their daughter's a riot, and she's still sleeping. I was hoping their daughter would come up and crash the interview, and she's the cutest little girl that I've seen in a while. And I've only got to see her once, like 3 years ago when they went to one of our buddies' retirements.
Yeah.
And just cool kid, just bright, smiley energy. And that's what I talked about earlier, is coming to visit. I haven't seen Jim and Tandra, in 3 years. And it's just been great seeing them and how old their daughter is now. And just, it's very, nostalgic to finally reconnect, and we're dudes. We haven't been the best at keeping in touch. I think we've texted maybe 5 times in the last 2 years, and it's just, I don't take it personal. But as soon as I said, hey, can I come visit, they're like, heck yeah, come on over. So super cool. They allowed me to come hang out and be a part of their family for a few days, hopefully till Monday morning. I don't know, it's still under review if they're going to stay here all weekend. You know how I do it. Sometimes I outstay my welcome.
No, yeah, I know a little something about that. So your daughter, she's 5. Is she in school part-time, full-time? What?
Full-time, yeah, kindergarten.
Yeah, so you're nice.
Yeah. So yeah, she had been to the preschools where they set them up really well for going to kindergarten. So yeah, it's been a breeze for her. So
nice.
Yeah, she likes it a lot. Yeah.
So you're just starting out that journey of like navigating schools, and
yeah,
it gets fun. It does get fun. Like my kids are both in like sports now, and if that's the path that she's gonna go down, but just their extracurricular stuff gets really fun. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's just started a t-ball team with the school. So we went to first practice, and it's already hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pretty quickly who's going to be the athletes or not. But no, and Tandra was saying, his wife Tandra said that she has swim lessons tomorrow. So it's like, can I go? I'd love to see swim lessons and just see her getting to learn how to swim, and just those little things. I don't have
some pointers. She keeps trying to teach her how to keep her legs straight as she's kicking.
Yeah.
I won't be able to show her any strokes on the arm, but I'll show her how to kick. But yeah, those are the little things that I think I've really appreciated. And a lot of parents are working full time and don't get to see stuff like that. I know it's Saturdays or tomorrow's Saturday, but like just those little things where you get to see them learn, and you're not stuck at work or in the Marine Corps. Oh, we're working all day. Oh, we're coming in Saturday. And I'm glad you're able to see that stuff, and I'm excited to see her swim tomorrow.
Yeah. Like I said, and just how my work is set up, I am pretty fortunate. I do get a lot of time, and I'm not working 24 hours a day. So that's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not training to kill people anymore.
No.
Do you give us a little summary of what you do now?
So I work for one of the big banks, Wells Fargo. And then I started off, I was trying to do after the military, trying to, what do I want to do? That whole thing. So I was like, project management, that'd be cool. And then I was like, this is dumb. And
strike one. Don't want that.
So it's something very similar, I feel like, to the military, and it's working in the agile mindset with the actual developers that write all the code. And it's really just how to do things in short little increments, but to get the most bang out of your buck as far as like efficiency, code written, out deployed. And it what reminds me a lot of the military is, just a very small, you just work with a couple teams, so you build that cohesion. And you're right there where the rubber meets the road kind of thing. So I like it. Yeah, it's hectic and frustrating at times, but I wouldn't change it though. It's just kind of who I am.
That's funny because he's I like working with a corporate. It's more efficient now, and it's like as opposed to the Marine Corps, even the Navy. Nope, we're gonna stay here 8-12 hours. We don't care if it's for no reason. We're gonna muster and take accountability 7 times today, just so the military gets their hours worth. And it's just like military is very inefficient with it when it comes to people's hours and time.
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't want to go back to a job like that. So I'm glad it's flexible and you have better, more efficient hours and not just punching a clock and being there.
Yeah. And everybody worked with super cool. So that makes it even better. Yeah. So it's pretty nice. Yeah.
It almost sounds like the military is run by the government.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's what?
Inefficient.
Right. Well, see, maybe Doge, maybe the guys at the group at Doge will cut some fraud, waste, and abuse. I don't know. It's funny because when I was, I've been retired a year now, but when I was younger, E5, E6, and I was in charge of like ordering medical supplies and doing stuff like that. It was just funny because the budget, again, that quarterly budget and then the annual budget, and it's like, hey, we still have a bunch of money this quarter. We need to spend all the money, or we're not going to get the money next quarter because they're going to see that we didn't spend it, so we don't need it. And so you just have people buying this ridiculous stuff, just like new chairs and like just random stuff. 40 chalkboards, not really, but like just. I couldn't think of anything else stupid, but just kind of wasteful. And it was one of those things where you just say, all right, I'll spend it. I'll buy these 500 cases of IVs, even though we only go through 50 in 1 week or in 1 month. And it was just very, very wasteful, I think, sometimes in the military, but you just kind of went along with it because that's what you just did.
That was like, anybody who wants boots.
Yeah, order extra gear.
Or who wants, But yeah.
Well, that sounds fun. That sounds like a nice perk, actually.
Actually, yeah, it's not. But I still feel like it was a waste. Do you really need it? But it's like, okay, well, I mean, it was stuff that was useful sometimes, and you get neglected sometimes with gear and stuff like that. So it was sometimes a good opportunity to try and take care of yourself or other Marines and sailors with getting gear that's been needed for a while.
So to go back to where you're living now, Jim, you're in Mooresville. Are you working remotely, or do you have to travel into like Charlotte or anywhere near there?
So I go into the office in Charlotte 3 days a week. So so 2 days at home, it's a hybrid. So it's not too bad. Yeah.
So James, how often do you have to go into the office?
I'm in the office now. You can't tell.
So you get to work.
Dude, I'm in the office 7 days a week, dude. I'm in the office 7 days a week.
So that's some long work weeks, man. But at least you get to be home,
Yeah. So how is Charlotte? Like, do you spend much time outside of work in the bigger cities? Like around? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not super familiar with North Carolina, but it looks like Charlotte. You got Asheville. Those are kind of far. Fayetteville.
I think me and Tanya have kind of come to find this out about ourselves. Is like, I think it's probably around OB time frame. Is like we move somewhere into that little town, and then we don't venture out from that little town too much. Like we'll go downtown to the city here and there. Even when we're in San Diego, I mean, San Diego was awesome, but we didn't go downtown too much.
Yeah.
Colorado, when we're outside of Denver, every once in a while, the company I used to work for they had box seats for the hockey games at the arena, and they were the most amazing box. They were like right in the center. And so they would give them away. So we started going to the hockey games a lot. So that was super fun.
Yeah.
But besides that, we would barely go into Denver. So same thing in Charlotte. It's we just kind of hang out local.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
found that too. That is once you find your little area, you kind of stay, and then maybe you'll go there occasionally. Typically, maybe somebody's visiting you. Like
Yeah.
I guess when you go to the
Yeah.
city, I guess,
Yeah.
and then they ask you what's down there. You're like, I don't know. I don't ever
I
really
don't,
go.
yeah. It'll be a surprise
really
for
go.
all of us.
Yeah, let's Google it. Let's Google it.
Yeah.
Check TripAdvisor.
Yeah, it was like that when we were in Portland and they would come visit us in Portland. They're like, "Well, what do you guys do down here?" We're like, "Not anything, but now that you're here, I guess we'll go." And it's different too because like we were probably 10 minutes from downtown, but yeah, when you're like 40 minutes from downtown, it's like we're not doing that too often.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes it's like, no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too far. So I got to look at the football. I got to see if the Lions come play Charlotte, and if they do, then for sure I'm gonna try and get tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
Yeah, we went to when we were living in San Diego. Didn't we go to a Detroit Dodgers game?
Yeah, I think so.
That was a really good time. I mean, I thought I was going to probably get stabbed. I don't know by either Dodger fans or Detroit fans. It was kind of rolling the dice. But yeah, it's funny to be in San Diego and hanging out with a Detroit fan, Detroit team fan.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. You know, I feel like that's one of the times we actually ventured out and went out of our way to go do something fun instead of just walking down to OB
to the bars.
Yeah, to the bars. And
Yeah.
but it's like you think about the logistics, and it's like, oh, I gotta drive an hour and a half. I can only have a couple beers and then I gotta drive us home. So it's just you think of all the negative things about going to an event and then you just don't do it. And I think when you're younger, just like, oh, we'll figure it out. Now it's like when you're older, it's like, no. If we don't figure it out, we're not going.
Well, especially with Uber and Lyft, it's a lot easier, I think, now.
Well, that's the questions you had written down, Jake. Do you have anything else for our guest here?
No, I was hoping you would, be creative and just think of something randomly.
Well, wait a minute. How come I'm not saying, Jim, do you have questions for both of you?
Oh,
Wait,
we didn't. Yeah, with
it's
Laurel,
kind of
it was
rude.
I think I think I felt like it's just like, no, I only get to ask the questions.
No, I mean, but you're in my house, so yeah.
Well, I'm out.
Use my electricity. And so, anyways, so Jake, why are you living in Texas?
Why am I living in Texas? Couldn't think of anything else better to do. No, I think the audience knows. Yeah, I got my last duty station was last two duty stations were in Texas, in San Antonio, and then my reserve. I got stationed with Marine Reserve Unit Artillery. That was painful, but I was like, you know what? Let me give Dallas a try. See if I'd select the big city, but I'm not feeling it. So I was just talking to them, going to Knoxville. I'm a big fan of Knoxville, and I think we'll talk about it in the next episode regarding spring break with my sister. But I mean, I'd be close to these guys, and I'd be only 9 hours from my sister instead of 15 hours. I'd be closer to the people I know in Florida. And Knoxville, I think it's like Nashville is kind of out of the question now. It's super expensive, super crowded. I think super way overrated. So I absolutely could see myself in Knoxville. I think I would replace Tennessee for Texas of what I've seen so far. So yeah,
I've never, just in our travels, going from here, we drove through Knoxville, a few times. Never really stopped, but it did look really cool. It looked like it'd be a cool mix of very modern, and then I'm sure you could find those old spots where more historical, low key. So it would, just in that surrounding area, it'd be like anything you could ever want would be like right there. Yeah, and I have heard really good things about Knoxville. So next question.
Oh, okay.
What is the
3 questions max. All right.
okay.
So
what's the favorite place you've been to in your military travels?
Military travels.
Quite a bit.
I feel like we had a pretty good time in Phuket, Thailand, and we had that girl. So it's crazy. Like all the locals know when a ship's coming in, even though it's supposed to be OPSEC. And there's tons of people waiting just to taxi you into the city or to the touristy strip. And we found this local lady, probably in her 20s or early 30s.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can be. You guys looking for a driver? And we kind of were talking to her. She was kind of broken English. We're like, hey, well, we want someone to drive us around, today and tomorrow. She's like, all right, I don't know what the price was.
It was
cheap. It was like 1,000 baht or something, which was like $20. Maybe not that little, but so she took us to our hotel that we had reserved. and then she took us around that night, I think, and then the next day she picked us up and drove us around, and we gave her the last half of what we agreed upon. And it was fun because instead of just going to the bars and drinking, getting wasted and vomiting and
you took us to some pretty cool like
touristy
touristy spots.
like temple or not temples, the Buddhist stuff, and like some really cool spots that were more, actually seeing the country. But I like Vietnam. Probably one of my favorite one that I appreciated. A lot of the locals did not speak English as much as like they do in Thailand. But very friendly culture. It was a lot cheaper to eat and drink there. Actually, in Vietnam, beautiful beaches. It was tough because if you went inland too much, there was like zero English spoken. So you couldn't, like in Thailand, you can kind of go inland and around the island pretty much majority of the island. A lot of people speak English, or at least a little bit, and so that makes it a little more fun. But I would say Vietnam or Australia were my favorite two.
Australia, that was super place.
So I haven't been back to Australia in 20 years. I'd like to go back there.
Are you gonna get another dog anytime soon?
Yeah, so Tandra, I'm just hanging out. She's on her phone, I think, checking Facebook or whatever, and she's like, Jake, you got to get this dog. I was like, what? Like out of the blue, like I travel. She's like, oh, he totally could just ride with you. Road dog, and cool looking dog. It looked like a doodle mix, and
I think so,
I'm looking for a hypoallergenic, non-shedding dog, but I just feel
doodles.
I just went to Guam. I do want a dog. Eventually, I do want a dog, but I just don't want to have to either put him in a shelter, not shelter. What is it called? Kennel. Like have him in a kennel, or ask somebody to watch my dog for a month because I'm going overseas to travel. So I don't think it's in the cards yet. But
they can be service dogs and they can go with you. Look, you're being very negative. There's so many possibilities.
Oh, my shoulder's really messed up from that fall. I need a dog.
Your dog, can you carry this? I can't carry it. Just have a pack mule, not a pack dog that just carries all my stuff. No, I think dogs are awesome. I think they're a good part of a home, and their dog. She's somewhere, but she's just. I think a good dog really just helps round out a family that is fun to visit. I think most of the families that I visit have a cool dog. It's even, I don't know. I like dogs, but I don't think I'm ready for one on my own. Maybe start with a goldfish, or maybe a plant, a succulent or something. Maybe I'll travel with the plant and see if I can keep it alive, and then go to a goldfish and then a dog.
Yeah, that's the progression.
I think that's a good progression. Okay. We got to, after this, we got to cut because I think we're about an hour now. But yeah, so I get here last night. I'm hurting. They give me an ice pack. I take some pain meds, and I'm hanging out with the family, and I go to bed, and I pop the meds, and how pain meds, they can knock you out pretty good. But for whatever reason, I woke up at like 3 a.m. And I don't know if she like tapped me or whatever, but I wake up and Emerson's just sitting there next to the bed, like, "Hi, Jake." I'm like, "What the?" She's like, "Do you want to get up?" I was like, I looked at my watch. It's like, sweetie, I think I'm gonna sleep a little longer. It was like 3:30 a.m. So she leaves, and then she comes back again like 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes later, and comes back again. And I wake up and I see her again. She's like, "Oh, just come back to see if you were still up." The door was still unlocked, so I just wanted to come in. And it was the cutest thing. Like I wasn't mad at all. And she's a really cute girl. And I'm a little tired, but it was funny because she just wanted to hang out, and I think Tandra said she didn't want to go to school again today because she wanted to hang out.
Yeah, she was just. It was funny. She was like, "Dad, I don't feel good." I'm like, "What's wrong?" "Oh, my throat." Yeah, and it's like, pretty sure you're going to school.
Yeah. I'd rather hang out with me than go to school.
Right? Personally. Yeah. She had that fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Dad used to have that really bad.
FOMO.
So we get it.
All right. Well, this was fun. It was good seeing you again.
Yeah, I know. It was great seeing you. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with this guy here for the next. We'll give it a day and a half.
Yeah.
48 hours is pushing it.
Yeah.
Thank you, listeners, for our 17 listeners. Maybe we might be at 20. Thanks for continuing to listen to our episodes. But most likely over the next few weeks, I'll be interviewing more and more friends, and hopefully it's just as fun as they've been. So thank you for joining in.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
James, it was great seeing you, man.
Yeah, you too.
Like you
All right.
said.
All right.
See you
Until
guys.
next time.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.